specific question. I don't know if you saw yesterday that former President Clinton and Hillary Clinton wrote a letter to Representative Comer about their investigation about Epstein and his efforts to try to get them to testify. And you'll see the connection in a moment. In the letter, they say, quote, "The Justice Department has been used as a weapon at the direction of the president to pursue political opponents." Do you believe that to be true?
Well, I think the Epstein case is, and the Clintons' involvement in it is just another, what I think is a big issue in Congress and around the country. People want these files released, and the Clintons are involved in it because the American people demand that Congress open every single file and have the least amount of redaction so that they can find out who was going back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile. And, you know, this is transparency that the American people wanted. I don't think that's geared towards the Justice Department engagement there and being used as a weapon at all.
Okay. That is Arkansas's 2nd District Representative French Hill on CNBC, awkwardly trying to not answer a question about Jeffrey Epstein or the DOJ being weaponized. I mean, the conversation was supposed to be about the fact they're attacking the Fed chair. I assure you that Mr. Hill didn't want to talk about Epstein. And then the whole idea where he goes off the rails saying, well, you know, the Clintons, clearancy, my brother did not all be on screen, from the coffee drinking to the eyes blinking SOS the whole time he was talking. And then, so the thing about, I mean, I love that video. That is Arkansas. And by the way, folks, he chairs the Banking Services Committee, one of the most powerful committees in Washington, D.C. And he's been doing this since 2015. But here's the thing. French Hill, like a lot of these members of Congress right now, are facing actual formidable competition this time. And he's on the cut line this time, right? So that's why. And who is he facing? Well, you know, if you've watched my show on democracy, you might know my guest, and I've been really excited to get him on. And that is his former opponent this time, is a guy named Chris Jones, which you may have heard of. I joke a lot. He's my favorite rocket scientist pastor, and he's a great guy, and he talks better than I do. But this is why we're happy to have him on. And as you guys know, this is In the Hot Seat with Fred Wellman, FP Wellman, right out here on the MeidasTouch Network. I'm the host of On Democracy every Friday night. We are so excited. I've been thrilled to get Chris back on the show right now in the midterms. So let's get on with it. This is In the Hot Seat with Chris Jones. Chris, welcome. Hey. I should have said Dr. Chris Jones, man. I'm sorry I left your title off.
It's all good. It's all good.
Dr. Chris Jones, folks. He's a rocket scientist.
At French stumble. Yeah.
His eyes were blinking SOS. Yeah, I swear to God. I'll get Satchel the intern to check out the Morse code of his eyes. Right. So Chris, my God.
Mess over here.
Oh, it is a hot mess. And you jumped into the congressional race. You surprised me, my friend, when you reached out to me, told me you were doing it. I thought you were crazy at the time. Look, for folks that don't know, Chris, you were the first African-American candidate for Arkansas governor, Democratic nominee. Unfortunately, you came up a little short, but you've been working hard. You got a young family. You've got work. You've been helping your fellow Arkansans in voting rights mission and getting more Arkansans registered to vote. You got a lot, but you and I, we were joking with our young intern Satchel before we talked about it. You and I run around the DNC together last year.
Yeah.
Why are you running for Congress, my friend?
Well, look, first of all, FP Wellman, it's great to see you, my friend. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for shining a light on races like this. Look, I am running because the system is way too rigged towards the powerful and the connected, folks like French Hill. And I'm an engineer, and I'm running to build a system that works for the working class, that works for regular people, and that brings affordability and accountability. That's why I'm running.
Yep. And that matters right now. We're all facing this crisis right now.
Oh, it matters a lot.
And French Hill's been there since 2015. He's been there since 2015. He's on the Banking Services Committee, a very powerful committee. I can't imagine he has
the most powerful banker in Congress.
Okay. And so what are you hearing in your district? I mean, how are you running? I mean, I look at you and I see a contrast, right? I know you well, friend. I know the contrast between you and French. I mean, what is that contrast between you and French Hill that separates you and is probably resonating with voters a little bit?
So two things. First, your clip was iconic because it speaks to his inability to do the job. The job of representative is to write laws and then to put a check and balance on the executive branch.
Yeah.
They wrote a law and the executive branch is ignoring it.
Yeah.
So it just speaks to him. When I go around the district, look, you know me, I cannot hear out of this ear.
Yep.
And so I've always had an issue hearing, but it becomes a superpower because I lean into listening. And I think that's what leadership is about. So we started the campaign. There are 8 counties in the 2nd Congressional, Central Arkansas. 8, and I'll talk about the demographics later. We did a town hall in every county in the district.
Wow.
And what we heard from folks was, look, healthcare is way too high and going up. Housing costs are way too high and going up. Utility rates are way too high and going up. Grocery prices are way too high and going up. The other thing they were saying was that they are sick and tired of the system being rigged against them. And they're sick and tired of people being able to make billions of dollars off of the taxpayers' back. We've never had a president who has been in office who has made this much money. And Congress is supposed to put a check on that. And they see that French Hill is doing nothing, as evident by the video, and they're ready for change.
I get it. And let's circle that one. I mean, I hear it too as I wander. The affordability, it's funny that the Republicans and some of the media try to say it's a buzzword. It is not a buzzword. You know,
Really?
I know here in my home state, our energy prices went up 37% this year. I mean, you're my neighbor to the south. I mean, I'm sure you're facing the same kind of crisis. I mean, affordability isn't just a buzzword. But they also want us to actually have a plan, don't they?
Yeah.
How do you address that? When people ask you about affordability, what are you telling them? Or what are you thinking about when you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, so there are a range of things from putting a control on the tariffs, and the tariffs are what are causing these prices to go up. That's one. To ensuring that we're able to innovate and grow. We haven't invested in small businesses. Look, there was something called the Regional Innovation Cluster. It supported small businesses in different regions across the country. We had one in Arkansas, but you know what happened? The Trump administration just slashed all those jobs. They slashed the federal workforce. They slashed the VA. They slashed all of this. And what that meant was that money that was going to support small businesses and help them grow was gone. Because for folks realize affordability is a two-part. There are two parts to two sides to the coin.
Right.
One is the cost of things, but the other is how much money you're actually making. And this administration, and since French Hill has been in that seat, he has not done a good job of helping us make more money. I'll tell you though, he started out, and this is between us.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
Nobody watches this.
Nobody's watching this. When he went in, he was worth about $2 million. He's
Not
now
bad.
worth about $20 million. How over the course of 10 years have you been able to increase your wealth while it's been stagnant for the average worker in the 2nd Congressional District? That's why I'm running, because we need to change that.
And look, you know, what drives me crazy too is it feels like the attitude. Look, and I got no problem against people getting rich. You know, God bless them.
No, of course, please.
But it's the pulling the ladder up behind him, right? It feels like if you know that isn't that the real story? When he votes against the people of he's pulling the ladder up behind him, isn't he?
Look, so here's the deal: get rich. The capitalism.
Go for it.
Let's go. But the system should not be rigged. That's the problem. It's not an issue with making money, but when the system is rigged towards certain people, when the referees also get to play the game and bet on the game, there's a problem. So that's what we're seeing. People want to make money. They want to work hard. They want to build wealth. What they don't want is just because you have somebody's phone number in your pocket, you get a bigger leg up than them and they're working their tails off. That's the issue.
I couldn't say it better. I mean, I'll probably steal that from you. Now, having said that, you did work, you know, after you ran for governor, it's a very good race, by the way. And what I love about you, Chris, and the reason we're friends is, and folks obviously I know Chris. What I love about Chris is I met Chris before he ran for governor. I met Chris running for governor. I met Chris running after running for governor, running on the DNC, literally tackling him in the hallway of the DNC and putting him on TV or putting on my show. it's the same Chris Jones, right? And you fought for voting rights. One of the things you recognized from your governor's race was that the folks of Arkansas, there's not enough registered voters. There's not enough people. Access to voting has been very restricted. They're continuing that attack on your voting rights. And now, of course, as you and I sit down and talk now, this week alone, we've seen the president say not once, but twice in different interviews, I don't even know why we have to have an election. I'm so awesome. So it is a scary thing. I imagine you get asked by a lot of people, are we going to have an election? Is my vote going to count? I mean, is that a priority for you?
That is one of the main questions I get from folks. Okay. And here's what's fascinating. I get that question across the socioeconomic spectrum.
Right. Yeah.
Billionaires, millionaires, 10 heirs, like folks are literally.
That's me. I got my ones.
Right. and saying, what are we doing? Now in Arkansas, it's particularly egregious because we're already dead last in voter turnout. And we're that way because they've constricted the number of days you can vote early. They reject absentee ballots. They're now the guys talking about taking ballot boxes. Again, what are we doing? And I asked the question, right? French was basically silent on the Epstein files. He did speak out in words about Trump firing the Fed chair. No action. But where is he on protecting elections? Where is he on Venezuela? Where is he on so many other issues? He's not saying anything, and he's certainly not doing anything when we need a Congress that's going to act to protect our fundamental rights. And voting is one of the most fundamental rights in this country, and we have to protect it.
Yep, and I think that's probably I hear a lot too. And on the show, we'll see it in the comments as you see when we post this interview. You're going to see a lot of people talk about, I'm worried about having an election.
Very worried.
He's not joking. He's not a prankster. He's very serious about that. And I know in both our states, here in the Midwest and lower Midwest as they call it, it's an issue.
Now I'll say this though, this only reinforces the need for us to understand our rights, to understand the process and understand it early, and then to educate everyone in our circle. I don't need anyone listening to educate 5,000 people, but I need you to educate the 15 or 20 people in your circle to make sure they know what ID to carry. They know, and make sure we go vote because we got to turn out this election. We have to.
Yeah, no choice. What we're seeing unfold in Minnesota and across the country, it's no real.
Country,
All right, here's the most important question we asked in the hot seat. Chris, where can they find you? Where can they toss you some of those ones we're throwing around and help your campaign? Because folks, we flipped this race. That sends a shockwave across the country. So you could use some help though doing it, couldn't you?
No, I can definitely use some help. And let me say this: we've done polling, and this is a 1-point race.
Wow.
So right now, our job is to get our message out and to get people out to vote. And we do that when we bring in the resources, as you know. So if folks can give $1, give $26 for 2026, let's do it. You can find me at anywhere on social media at jonesforar.com. You can go to my website and find me at chrisjonesforcongress.com. So Jones for AR on social media, chrisjonesforcongress.com on the website. Please chip in, give your money, come to Arkansas and knock on doors. Fred, I need you to do a hot seat.
Let's do like I do.
Let's do it.
Hey, look, man, I knock doors in North Georgia. I ain't scared. There you go. I like a little heat.
Yeah. So I just want folks to remember Chris Jones and let's win this race and flip it in November. Add a seat to our column.
I love this plan. Chris, thanks for taking time for some of your busy man. Run for Congress isn't easy. Thanks for stepping up again for your country and your community. We appreciate you more than you can imagine, my friend. So thanks for joining us here on the MeidasTouch Network. We'll see you soon, my friend. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Cheers. Oh, man. Another great conversation for In the Hot Seat. I love these. I'm so glad we're doing these again. You'll see more of them here on the MeidasTouch Network periodically. We've got a lot more folks to talk to. It is the midterms, folks. And as Chris said, you've got to talk to your friends and neighbors. You've got to step up. You've got to volunteer for campaigns. You've got to throw a couple bucks in. Every dollar helps in these campaigns. It's very hard to beat an incumbent, an entrenched incumbent who's worth millions of dollars. So help my friend, Dr. Chris Jones, and get out. Look, this is we're presenting many more of these on Democracy in the Hot Seat conversations with candidates and others. I hope you'll check them out. In the meantime, of course, our show is available every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here in the MeidasTouch Network. Don't miss On Democracy with F.P. Wellman. We've got great shows coming up. Keep going. I tell you, we're really enjoying talking to folks, getting you the news maybe you didn't hear somewhere else. In the meantime, Be sure to support your local candidate. Check out our Substack, fpwellman.substack.com, to keep up with what we're doing in our other projects. And I'm Fred Wellman here on the MeidasTouch. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate your time. We're not done yet. Keep up the fight, folks.